Hey everyone, it's Melissa here with The Creative Season. We are painting Sunstars today. This gorgeous flower was given to me by a dear friend at Easter time, and I have to say it has continued to thrive. It's such a beautiful flower. I think I'm going to get one probably for my mom for Mother's Day, for my sister-in-law for her birthday, for my best friend's birthday, and I thought I would paint them as well. As you can see, I'm doing a little bit of splatter here, but paint with me. It's a super fun, simple sketch. Any size of paper will work. You just want a piece of paper that's a little bit taller vertically so we can really stretch those gorgeous flowers. And it only takes about 15 minutes, so let's get going. Hey everyone, well we are going to be starting our new series here. This is the month of May. We're going to be painting some beautiful flowers. I have lots going on in May, as I'm sure you do too, with best friends' birthdays and sister-in-law's birthdays and Mother's Day coming up. So today we're going to paint a Sunstar splatter style. So I've got this beautiful Sunstar here. My friend actually gave it to me for Easter, which is so sweet, but it has been blooming so lovely, and I thought I am really loving this flower. So I've got it sketched out here, and you can see I have a nice light sketch in the little potted flower. If you're sketching along with me, note that I don't have it in the middle. We want it off to the side because that is, the flower kind of goes off to the side too, and it's just way more interesting to have things not in the center. So I'm going to come back up now, and I've got a few pieces of small watercolor paper as well, because we're going to do some splattering today too. So I think actually I'm going to start off with some splatter. So I'm just going to cover like the pot up there. I'm going to go ahead. I have some gamboge. I cleaned off my palette today, so it's looking that all beautiful, and then it's broken. So I just need to get a new palette. So by the time we paint together next time, we're going to hopefully have a new palette. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just splattering around the flowers, a bit of an umbrella around them. I usually save the splatters for the end, but this time I'm going to get some orange too. I wanted to do it first. I'm going to get a little bit of red because I don't want the splatters at the end. I'm going to mix the red with the gamboge. I don't want the splatters to like get in the green when we paint the green. So we're just going to let that go, and we're going to just go ahead. Oh, I'm going to put a little bit down there, right? Just a little bit on the flowers. We're going to grab some more gamboge. Okay, so now that I have that, let's go ahead and start painting. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to start with the beautiful, beautiful gamboge. So if you have gamboge, or if you have a cadmium, I've got cadmium yellow actually and gamboge. I'm going to start with gamboge, and you can see you see all the beautiful colors. You can see lots of different orange hues, right? Some are bolder than others. So what I want to do is I'm going to start with the gamboge and just start moving around in my petals. And I will be honest, I accidentally forgot to water this guy. He doesn't need a lot of water, but I let him go a little too long without any water. So he got a little dry on some of the small buds. But I have to say, when Christina gave me this, the second bloom was really short and nothing, it was all green. So everything has blossomed quite beautifully. So I'm just moving around here. Also, if you notice, the inside of the flower is green, like the little sprouts coming out, the tendrils. So we're going to create a space for those. And again, I'm just moving around here. I noticed that the star, I'm guessing that it's called a Sunstar because each of the flowers, I notice when it's fully bloomed, has 5 buds. So if you want to also at this point pick up a little bit of red, just a little bit, and you wanted to just add in a bit of that red, that is going to really start to give it a pop. And I am using alizarin crimson for my pop. Sometimes if I use the cadmium orange, it's a bit opaque and it doesn't always play the best with the other colors. So I'm just cognizant of that. And I actually have another petal. Feel free, I just do the petals as a lot of times as an outline. So if you want to add in some more, I know sometimes I'm like, I need to fill this in a little bit. Add in a few more petals, or I forgot one, so I'm going to add one in over here. And just continue moving around. Again, this is probably going to be about another 15 or 20 minute watercolor. I'm going to move down over here. This one's pretty dry. The last week, the poppies that we did was a little bit more wet on wet, and we were painting the background, which really adds to the intensity of the watercolor too. And when you're painting it, everything's wet. That can be a lot. When you're like, goodness, I don't know if this is really gonna work well, I'm gonna pick up a little bit more. I'm actually gonna pick up some orange just so you can see that. See that, the orange in there? It's just a bit more of a darker color, right? Still quite lovely. And I'm gonna add just a bit up here as well. It definitely adds to almost that, a bit of a heavier sense, and you want those petals to be really nice angles, really sharp tips. So I'm gonna come in just a little bit so you can see that a little bit closer. I'm gonna move over here now too, and I'm just using the same brush and just moving around. When we sketch with the pen first, it creates a little bit more of a finished look, especially if you don't have time to come back and do a couple of layers. Because sometimes, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll do that original sketch with pencil, and then I'll paint it, erase the pencil marks if there's any left remaining, and then add pen and another layer of paint. But that can be a little bit tedious if we're really seeking to create in the margins of our life. And the margins maybe are only 20 minutes in a week. So moving right along here. I really am loving the color and some of the depth. Now I want to get a little bit deeper. I'm actually going to mix some cadmium orange and a little bit of the red. This is going to be pretty bold. Add a little bit more of water here. And then I'm just going to do just a bit, just a few touches where I'm seeing that in the flowers. Not everywhere, but just moving that around here, because these are very bold flowers. And isn't that pretty? Looks really, really nice. Okay, I'm going to bring that over here just a bit. And I noticed I had another bloom coming right over here. Notice too that I am not painting every single bloom. I'm really particular. I don't feel, we get to figure out in our paintings what stays and what goes. You don't have to paint everything. Gonna add a little bit more right over here. Okay, now that we have that out, I am gonna take a little bit of brown because I have some dirt sticking up, and I do want to create that sense. So I'm gonna add in a little bit of dirt right in here where the beautiful buds are just bursting out. I'm gonna then come back. I'm gonna grab some green. I'm actually gonna pull up a little bit of my cadmium yellow and mix it, making sure that the yellow and green don't mix. I'm gonna lay down a little bit of yellow first, just a little bit, you can even use a little bit of gamboge, and just put that on there, just where some of the light's hitting, where it's green on the stems. I have a bit of a yellow green. I'm gonna move that in there, add some more water to that, making sure you can see that nicely. And then I'm gonna take the green, I'm using a hooker's green today, and I'm gonna start just moving all of my stems and creating a really nice, beautiful green stem here. That looks really, really nice. Okay, so moving that in, I'm moving this down so that yellow and green are blending beautifully. Pulling that green, but trying not to pull the orange, right? Okay, I'm gonna just move this stem out. I've got a couple of green growths coming off of here, so I'm gonna add those in too, creating that really nice pokey end with my paint. I'll let the green run into the brown. I'm not too worried about that. And then pulling up here and moving these colors in. I'm painting down away from the flowers because I don't want the green to seep into the orange. And moving that around here. And all that looks lovely. Okay. That looks really nice. I'm going to move that there. A little bit of brown got in here. That's okay. That just kind of creates a darker color. That looks really nice. I love that. That looks very pretty. Now what I'm going to do is I actually want, I think, probably some green splatters around, but I'm going to put actually a little bit of brown, a little bit a light brown where some of the shadows are. So I have shadows underneath the pot and then kind of coming over this way. I'm going to go ahead and where that tabletop is too, I'm going to go ahead and just create a line right there. Let me back up a little bit so you can see the whole thing. I'm going to take some water and then just move that line a little bit down and around so it's not a harsh line. I'll take a little bit more of that brown, and this is a raw umber, so it's a little cooler, and move that around. The darkest part, I would just want it right under the petals. Now I think for the pot, I'm going to go ahead and use a bit of the orange, the gamboge, and just lay it in there nice and light. And I'm probably going to add a little bit of the alizarin crimson, almost to make it look like a terracotta, goodness, a terracotta pot. Good, I can hardly talk. I'm going to go right up here where the brown is, and that's going to be a little too much. Not a big deal. If you see some dripping like me, take a dry brush and just sop up that extra color with the dry end of your brush. And I'm going to come down and take my paper towel, and I'm just going to dab it and just dab. And I may wait a little bit later till that's all dry and come back in. I'm going to grab some of the bold color, kind of create a little bit of a terracotta, maybe even add a little bit of brown, and then come back in here and see that looks like a terracotta pot, doesn't that? Nice color, but I'm still using just the colors that I already have in the painting. I'm not using anything new. And I'm going to go ahead and come up right under here, and I'm okay with letting this get a little bit kind of a dirty color up here at the end, not a big deal. I do want it to be a little bit darker right under here where there's some shadowing too, so I'm going to add in some extra paint. And down here as well. And that looks good. And I can always come back in a little bit later and make it darker. So now we're at just 11 minutes, which is actually really, really nice. We're doing really well. I want to come back in now, and I do want to add a little bit of some green in other places. I'm going to put my masking tape on here and cover that up because I want to add some green splatters, but I don't want the green to get on the flower. So I'm just going to scoot like that, and I'm just going to do a little bit of green over here and up here. So not too much, just a little bit. Just a little bit over there too, because I don't want the orange and the green to blend, and I'm just going to take that off. And that looks nice. That looks really nice. I'm going to come back over here, and you see where the edges of the flowers, some of the edges just look like they need a little bit of pop. So I'm going to take that gamboge and alizarin crimson, and I'm going to come over and just add in some extra color right over here on those flowers that just look like they need a little bit of love. And if you want to add in some orange, add in a little bit of orange there. I'm going to add just a bit over here, and then we're just going to let everything dry, and then I may come back in later. You can always add in another layer if you so desire to. I'm going to see down here too where these are a little bit more faded because they're a little bit older, but they still have a pop, and I'm still going to add a little bit of alizarin crimson, that mix to them. That looks really nice. Now the other area that you might see is right here where the stem is away from the light. It's going to be darker. So I'm going to take green again and add just a little bit of brown to the green. And I'm going to come back up here, and just on the side that's away from the sun, that would be more in the shadow, I'm just going to move that up towards the light. And then on this side as well, just a little bit towards the base and up. And I'm going to kind of let that dance and do its own thing. I'm not going to be too worried about trying to blend it in. If it looks too much, you can take a little bit of green and move away from the flower and just let it go up. This part needs a little bit more green, a little bit more green up there. That looks really, really nice. Now what I can do to right down here, if I want this just to be a little bit more differentiated, it's pretty dry now already. I'll take a little bit of brown, come back under here, and just create that shadow again, going right up to the tape. And then for my terracotta color, I'll go back in, pick it up. We weren't painting super, super wet again, so that kind of allows us to come back pretty quickly and just add in some more color. I'm even gonna add a little bit of that orange color right in here too. Just move that down. And that looks really nice as it's kind of imitating the color of the terracotta pot. I've got that moving down here. That looks so nice. Okay, you guys. Well, this is really lovely. And now notice too that if you wanted to, you have some space right in here if you wanted to write a letter or a note. I've done this on a pretty good size of paper. It is, it is about, let's see, my ruler here, it's probably 6 by 9. It is, well, 6 by about 8. But you could always make it smaller and make it into a card, or make this as your card for your mom, which would be really, really pretty. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Again, if you think it looks a little bit messy, let it dry, come back, do a little bit more pen work, and then add in a little bit more color. It's going to be absolutely beautiful. I've loved painting with you, and I'm going to put another Mother's Day project. If you would like some more ideas for Mom's Day, or if you, like me, you've got a best friend's birthday coming up, right linked into this show.